are wrestling fans, and we are the degenerates that went to Monday Night Raw. Uh, this is Kicking At It Too. I'm Michael. With me, as always, is Tori. Hey, Tori.
Hello.
How are you doing today after
I'm all
yesterday?
right. I'm tired and I'd still sound like shit, but
Um, so Monday Night Raw was our town. It was right down the street from us. It was in the BOK Center here in Tulsa. So we got to actually go. This show, by the way, is sponsored by McOcho Photos. It's a company owned and done by a good friend of our show and a friend that helped us get there at the show yesterday. So shout out to Brian and his company. I'll have a link to his Instagram in the description of this video. So definitely check him out. He's a great photographer. I've been checking out his stuff all day. Um,
he's got a great eye. He's done some. I've seen some of it. It's so good.
yeah. I wish he would have brought his camera yesterday.
He thought about it. He actually said something about it, and he said that his concern was he was going to get to the gate, and they were going to be like, "You can't take that in," and he didn't want to walk all the way back out in the cold.
Yeah.
Had it not been 20 degrees outside, he may have done it anyway.
Yeah.
But his concern was they wouldn't let him take it in.
That's valid.
So, because the lenses he has are professional-ish lenses,
Hmm.
and so I don't think what we need to do is once we get big enough, we'll just get him credentialed. Then he can just go take pictures.
There you go.
He's our company photographer.
That's right. Uh, so, uh, a decent night of a Raw. It's the Raw after Royal Rumble, so there's always kind of a bit more excitement, almost like a reset of what's going on and a continuation of things that get started. Um,
I always call it the second biggest Raw of the year
mhm.
because the Raw after Mania is the biggest Raw of the year.
Yes, absolutely, because that's the official reset. That's the season premiere. That's the
This is the
start of
reset
everything
on the
new.
road to WrestleMania, or
Yeah,
the roads to WrestleMania in this point.
yeah, and
This
definitely in
case,
this case. Um, So we start off the night with Cody Rhodes' video package showing his Rumble victory, and then he enters, and good lord, the amount of pyro and how loud that is in an arena, Jesus Christ! um, so he
the
got
crowd it's good crowd response too.
yeah
They
yeah he got a big response. I saw a video today on Twitter. It was just kind of in the midst of someone that I follow. They were all
mhm.
talking back and forth about it. And he was talking about the fact that people are saying that people are going to start turning on Cody because they want Sammy to face Roman because of that whole thing. And
I don't
I
think one has anything to do with the other.
yeah, they did the clip of like when he like before he even talked, when he was like just staring at the sign, and the entire arena is saying you deserved it. I made sure to mention, I was like, I was there live, and that stuff was not piped in, and it was loud as
No,
shit.
that
So
yeah. Well, and the other thing is, we had a damn a weather system come through, and it was icy, and we still had a pretty good turnout for that show.
yeah.
We
Um,
were talking about it when we got there. We weren't sure how many people were going to show up, and
yeah.
it was a pretty decent amount.
They mentioned at the end of the show, Cody got on the mic and said that it was an attendance record for that building. I did try to research that today, and it seems kind of hazy on maybe what they're talking about. It looks like maybe they have attendance records depending on the event that's there,
That
because
was
like
it.
the biggest one was Metallica, and it was like 19,000, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
we weren't 19,000 strong
no,
last
we were
night,
not nineteen
so
thousand,
uh,
but it's probably for the type of event,
yeah,
like sporting event, concert, because the basketball games that come, they generally block off the top section,
yeah. So
especially for like the NBA exhibition games. So
regardless, we
those
we were we were close to 6,000 strong after looking it up. So definitely a decent crowd for the night. So good for us. Hopefully, that means that
no, well,
maybe
and the
maybe we'll get
BOK
more people
Center
coming in.
is the BOK Center is a decent sized arena,
Hmm.
but it's not huge.
Hmm.
It's not. I mean, the entryway from the Titantron to the ring isn't that far.
No, it isn't.
So
It is a smaller, more
venue.
more compact venue, a little more intimate, if you want to say it that way. which you could tell last night because the wrestlers definitely had a little more FaceTime with people, which was fun to see.
Yeah,
Them kind of talking, getting more intimate with the crowd. Uh, so when he comes out, the first thing he says is the famous line that he says every time something big happens in his career, and he just says, "So what do you guys want to talk about?" And it's a it's a line that is very endearing. That's the word
it
I was
is
searching for in my head.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
just like
And it gets a
it's
good response too, but he doesn't do it all the time.
yeah.
It's just like you said, when something big happens.
Yeah, it's like story time with Adam Cole. It's like that. Like he doesn't use that all the time, but when something he really wants to talk about,
It's
story
story
time with
time
Adam
with
Cole,
oh,
baby. So he comes out there and says that. Very impassionate promo. Cody is so good at that. Um, he talks about how he remembered showing up in OVW, and he was very assured of himself, and he was like, "I'm going to be WWE champion within 2 years, and I'm going to be the next John Cena." And the crowd the crowd kind of laughed about it, and
well, because the, look at who he's come through with.
yeah,
I mean, those OVW classes for about 5 years gave us 2/3 of the roster
yeah, it's
at
definitely like
at
if you
one
look at
point.
that class specifically, like you had Batista as Leviathan, you had John Cena as the
The
prototype, you had
John Cena
Randy
Randy
Orton
Orton
just
class,
starting, uh,
the yeah, the
Shelton
John Cena Randy
Benjamin,
Orton class
Brock
was a
Lesnar was
huge
there.
class. Cody came in a couple years later, but still
Yeah,
was they were still churning out great talent.
yeah, it was a massive thing. Uh, he continues on and he says he wondered if he would tell himself when he was younger if he was able to write himself a letter. Do I tell myself that one day I'd restore the Intercontinental Championship to its retro glory? Would I tell him that you became dashing, eventually painted your face, uh, had regrets and triumphs in that same time period, marry the woman whose job it was to announce everyone's name, lose his best friend, but welcome a child? Which that line I want to bring up because I started thinking about it because of something someone posted. I took that as a father, as I lost my dad and I had a child. However, it could also be he lost his best friend, Brody.
Brian asked me about that, and I said I thought it was his dad, but you have a very valid point.
Yeah, because then he ended up, Brody Jr., being a big part of his life. Because he mentions that Brody Jr. comes to the events with him.
But him and Brandy had a kid too.
They did, but that's what I'm saying. Like there's a multitude of what that could mean.
Wow, I didn't
Um,
even think about that.
because that blew my mind too. He did an interview right after the Rumble, and he had talked about Brody Jr. And he was like, yeah, like he or it was sorry, it was with Xavier, and they were talking about 2K, and he said, looking at this is the first time I've looked at a video game and went, that's me. Like sometimes it's you in the video game, but it's not you because it does moves that you don't do. It has looks that you don't have. He's like, but
Right.
looking at that entrance, it's me. And so this is a big thing for me, and I might have to start playing these things again. And he's like, and that'll be something me and Brody Jr. can do together because he's oftentimes in the back of the show. And so apparently Brody's coming to some WWE events and spending time with
Okay.
Cody, and that's awesome.
That's very cool.
Um, but anyway, so he says, but he lost his best friend, but he welcomed a child. He was able to catch fire and wrestle all over the world before taking an excursion and winding up being the winner of the Royal Rumble. And then he thinks for a second and he goes, I wouldn't tell my younger self anything because every step on this ladder, as splintered as it may be, was worth it.
Absolutely.
That trail that he did just had me captivated for the entire time he was talking. It was
He
absolutely insane.
We've talked about it before. His Mike Skills we saw at the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
when his dad went in, and we're like, I can't wait to see what this kid can do. He's 100 times better, and it's still the same thing.
Yep.
He's still just incredible.
And I love what he says next in this because he spins his catchphrase into a way to make this more than I'm a person who won the Royal Rumble, and so now I need to face Roman Reigns. He spun it to make it something more personal to him of why this is an important match.
Yeah,
Because he talks about, when I come out here, you guys sing my theme music, you sing along with it, and I bring Kingdom wherever I go, and I'm going to continue to bring it. Yeah,
I did that.
we
I did that.
definitely did that. Even though in most
Definitely.
cases I was saying something something Cody Rhodes because I can remember the damn words. Uh, but uh, he says, but the first words of that theme is mine, and it's me saying there's more than one royal family in wrestling. And he's like, in fact, there's more than one royal family in the WWE. Rhodes knew that he would, at this point, have to stand across from another royal family, the bloodline. In that case, the LeBron James of this era, Roman Reigns. The crowd started going nuts. Roman sucks, which was again very loud.
We were sitting there listening to it, and I was just like, after the end of the Royal Rumble, Roman has nuclear heat
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
you say his
Like,
name and the fans are gonna react.
oh yeah. I just was like, holy shit.
But he then turns that to say, for me, for you, it's just another 62 days until WrestleMania. For me, it's 62 days to the rest of my life. So on that night at WrestleMania, pull up a chair, sit everywhere wherever the hell you want, but another person's going to be eating. At the end of that night, you can be the tribal chief, you can be the biggest star, you can be the head of the table, but the one thing you will not be is the WWE undisputed heavyweight champion. And then he just drops the mic and done. Great way to end the segment. Great
Oh,
way to end the promo. The way he
absolutely.
spun all of that to make you
He's
care about this match. Because, again, and I have to say, like, I was one of those people, too, that was afraid that, okay, Cody's now got the match. But the last thing we saw at Royal Rumble was Sammy get beat down. So, how are fans going to react to Cody getting that spot and us not being able to see Sammy versus Roman at WrestleMania? Him talking spins everything.
he brought it all back to I understand what happened, but this is my road, and it has nothing to do with this over here other than Roman.
Yeah,
And he just listening to him talk, he's so good.
yeah. He's amazing at his job.
The inflections of his voice, the storytelling, like just the story that he tells in what he's saying. It just
Well, and he said it himself. So like he talked about like he went out on this excursion, not in this promo, but in an interview that he did after the Rumble. He said he went on this excursion and he finally found the one thing that he felt like he was missing, and that was ability to connect to people. And he has found that in spades.
yeah, he has 100%. I
Uh,
agree.
so his music hits, but then it's quickly interrupted by Judgment Day. Unfortunately, minus Rhea Ripley. Uh, we were all very sad by that. Uh, I was also very sad that at no point that night did we get the Rhea Ripley normal entrance because that would have been a perfect picture to take from where we were sitting. Um, but anyway, Finn Balor wondered if Rhodes was going to do something original because he talks about how the bullet is him, the too sweet is him. So are you going to try to do something original uh, and not just pawn off of me? Dominic said Rhea Ripley would announce her decision later in the night, but Rhodes ruined his and Judgment Day's plans, which was him to win the Rumble. They also bragged about whatever happened to Rey Mysterio. Damian Priest said that Dom should be main eventing, WrestleMania, not some suck up who complains and gets what he wants. Dom demanded an apology for Rhodes ruining his night, um, and Rhodes then got on the mic and was like, Dom, I don't want to piss you guys off, but are you trying to intimidate me? And he chuckled. The crowd laughed. Um, Rhodes then said, he has nothing but respect for Dom's dad. But Dom said he doesn't respect his own dad. More Rey Mysterio hate there. The crowd started just chanting, kick his ass. And again, this is one of those moments where he's really good at his job because he stopped and listened to that and heard how loud it was. And then he incorporated it into the rest of his promo. He said, Rhodes could easily, take it easy, rest up, make sure he's ready for WrestleMania. Or he could just, and then he stops and looks at the crowd, and the crowd starts again with kick his ass, kick his ass. And then he said, kick your ass. So then we find out that we're going to get a Judgment Day match. He said, I don't care which one of you, any of the three of you, I don't care. How about we do this tonight? So we find out later that it's going to be Finn. But we'll get to that later. At the end of this, though, Edge's music hits for a second. And he comes out and just starts beating the shit out of Judgment Day.
Well, because Cody's in the ring. Judgment Day is at like what would basically be the top of the ramp.
Right.
Right behind the edge of where the crowd was, right in front of the Titantron. Edge comes out and just starts beating the dog piss out of all three of them.
Yep. Which immediately Cody hops out of the ring. He joins the fight. Adam Pearce comes down. They're all trying to separate everybody and get them out of there. Which he eventually...
It took him a bit, too.
It did. Really great thing. Like, I love a pull-apart brawl. You could start one every week with a pull-apart brawl, and I'd be perfectly fine with it.
It's a great way. It's a great way to start the show.
Yep. We also find out that the United States title will be defended by Austin Theory at the Elimination Chamber.
In the chamber.
In the chamber. And we're going to have some qualifier matches tonight, which the first one that we get immediately after this segment was Seth Rollins versus Chad Gable, who has Otis with him. It's a 9-minute, 8-second match. It was a really good match. Chad is so smooth in the ring.
Keep going.
And I just really hope that at some point they give him the due he deserves. But he just so smooth in the ring. He had a lot of counters to Seth Rollins, specifically at the end of it, because at the end of it, Rollins is trying to get the pedigree onto Chad. He takes his time and keeps countering it into ankle lock after ankle lock after ankle lock. However, at one point, Gable did apply the ankle lock, but Rollins rolled through and hit a pedigree, which the roll through was pretty from Rollins as well, because he rolled backwards and had Gable roll with him. And so when he got up, standing up, he immediately hooked him to the pedigree and dropped it. So really good. It was a short time that they got on TV, but it was a good match overall. Corey Graves then says on commentary that Dakota Kai was injured in the Rumble match, but didn't give any specifics, which that explains something we saw later.
I do want to point out that Gable was working on Seth's leg the whole match.
Yes.
And so him rolling through that ankle lock into a pedigree, he tried it once and missed it, wasn't able to hit it, and then he rolled it through again and did hit it. It was really well done.
Yeah. Well, and that second
match was really good too. Like Chad doesn't get near enough props.
No. And I just to go to that point, that second roll up looked so amazing because he literally rolled backwards up into the setup for the pedigree. So it's like as they were getting up, he already had the arms hooked and dropped him immediately. It was very pretty. After this, we got the tag team champion Io Sky with Dakota Kai and Bayley defeating Candice LeRae and Mia Yim in her corner. It's about a 9-minute match. Uh, it was a great match. I loved it. But my favorite part of it was the fact that Bailey comes out and there's this kid behind us that goes, "Ah, shit, it's Bailey." Cracked up.
There's
Uh,
certain things you don't get on TV, and that's one of them.
that is one of them. So, little note: I'm getting these transcripts from the Wrestling Observer himself, Dave Meltzer. Um,
Try
five
not to
of
hold it against this.
yeah, five of LeRae's last 6 Raw matches have been against some member of this group.
Well, because she's been dealing with him since she came back.
Yeah,
But at the same time, let's go.
yeah. Let's do something with this. 1 minute into the match, they went to a picture to show a 10-second ad for Knock at the Cabin, which is the new
Batista's
new movie, which looks really good. I can't wait for that to get out.
I'm not a big horror fan, but it does look pretty solid.
I don't know if it's horror
It's
necessarily.
not. It's M. Night Shyamalan, so it's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
even then,
watched
just like
the
the promo of it that I saw after I got home, because I saw an extended trailer of it. It looks kind of science fiction-y too. And
which
so
The Village was, Signs was.
yeah,
So that's kind of his MO.
yep. Um, Sky hit a dive, but LeRae responded with a dive of her own, which is really fun to see live, to see that set up. We ended up with this though, with a distraction. Of course, Bailey and Kai on the outside. LeRae went after Bailey after she got up on the apron, before Mia Yim could actually get to her, and that distraction allowed Sky to roll up LeRae for the pinfall. But these girls brought it.
They
we
did.
we
They
did
very
talk
much
about it
did.
a little bit during the match that Candace seems off a step. She seems like she's hesitant a little bit. And I don't want to be that guy, but she's kind of been that way since she got back from having the baby, and I don't know if she's
I
worried
agree.
about something or
I don't know, but yeah, it seems like there's been some things that I've seen her do that just were smooth as silk before, and now it's like she's not sure she can do it.
yeah. Uh,
I don't know of another way to put that.
yeah, like specifically, there was a moment that they were going into a spot where she was supposed to go down and try to grab Io, and Io was going to roll her into a pin, and she like hesitated to go down,
Yeah,
and it
it
was like,
was
what? Okay, did we just forget the spot? Are we afraid of doing something? What's going on? Uh,
right.
but I mean, hopefully, whatever it is, she gets past, and we get to see old Candace.
Because Candice is amazing. I'm in no
She
way
is
trying to take it
absolutely.
away from her. I adore Candice LeRae.
Yeah, yeah, she's amazing. It just seems like she's off a step from what she usually is.
Yeah.
Um, the announcers then put over Rhea Ripley's Royal Rumble win, and they play a recap video of her winning the Rumble. Then we have a Ripley segment, which is nice to see her out there on her own, which is kind of something that she first said. She said this is the first time in a long time that she's been in the ring alone without her Latino heat Dom Dom and the Judgment Day. But she kind of just wanted the attention to be on her.
She got a pretty good reaction too.
She did. That's the thing is like they're well. I'll get to that in a second. Let's go over what she talked about. She talked about her choice. So she's got a choice between Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair. 3 years ago, she was in NXT, the women's champion at 24 years old, and her career was just getting started. She debuted on Raw and challenged Charlotte Flair to a match at WrestleMania, and Charlotte put her in her place.
It's crazy to me that it's only been 3 years since that.
Yep. Yep. She's only 27.
Like
Jesus
that
Christ.
just she's only 27 and she's this good?
Yeah. She is
Like,
absolutely amazing for being as young as she is. Um,
yeah. I just 3 years ago was her NXT title match with Charlotte at Mania.
yeah.
3 years. Look where she is. It's just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, even just like her presentation and how different that is now. Um, she says that Charlotte's always been in the title picture and has always been at the top of her game. Ripley hated to give Charlotte credit, but she got better every year, which valid. Like every year, Charlotte's gotten better. Um,
You can hate Charlotte all you want to, and yes, do I feel like she gets a lot of spots she shouldn't? Yes, but she backs it up.
yeah. Um, she says though that the normal flow of WWE was that Charlotte's on top, but Ripley is a disruptor, and she hated the standard flow and when things get overplayed. So basically, at this point, she says that Charlotte Flair, I choose you. So we find at that point that she's going to be facing the SmackDown Women's Champion at WrestleMania. Um, Interesting to see where
So
that goes with Judgment Day, with them
I
being on Raw.
started to say, so does that mean if she wins, they move all of them,
I don't know.
or do they just move her? She gonna leave her dom dom behind?
um, so she entered with a big reaction. The crowd was a little quiet at the end of the promo, but nothing, nothing to be concerned about. I think it was more like understanding what just happened.
Yeah, but I don't know. I felt like it kind of, for being what it was, it kind of fell flat.
Yeah,
Like, why would you do it on Raw when she's on SmackDown?
yeah. Well, and maybe that's part of it too. Maybe it's she's trying to keep that distance for right now because it's still 62 days. So
Yeah,
I don't think we want to rush this and get that a little too quick. We go
that's
backstage with
right.
a Kathy Kelly interview for Seth Rollins, who said he's going to win the chamber, excuse me, and take back his U.S. title from Austin Theory. Kelly asked about Logan Paul eliminating him at the Rumble. He just kind of
Walked
is,
off.
yeah, his smile went away, looked very stoic, and just walked away.
I, okay, look. My problem with that is he's not winning that because he's gonna have a Logan Paul match at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well,
you're
unless
telegraphing.
unless it's for the U.S. title.
I don't see them having Logan Paul job twice because his last match was Roman.
Yeah,
The Rumble doesn't really count as the job because it's the Rumble. But not that losing to Seth is a bad thing, but possibly I just don't see Seth winning that because of the Logan Paul situation.
yeah, I agree. Um, we'll see where it goes. I don't disagree because I do think there are better options inside the Rumble. I love Seth, but even just with the few names we got tonight, there's some better options that I'd like to see get it.
I
Even
agree.
more that we'll talk about when we find out some more matches that we're going to have for the spots that we learn about later on. We have
Yep.
another qualifier, Johnny Gargano with Dexter Loomis against Baron Corbin, who has JBL with him. The greatest part of this match was towards the end. Uh, so there's a lot of towards the end of the match, Corbin was in control until Gargano hit a slingshot spear and consecutive super kicks for two. Corbin responded with a deep six. So pretty when he does that. Gargano avoided a charge, so Corbin went shoulder first to the ring post, and Gargano
It's
followed him with a suicide dive.
that deep six is pretty on TV. It's even prettier in person.
Absolutely. Like, say what you want about Corbin. He's a talented dude. Again, one of those things you don't get a lot of on TV, but like we had a guy behind us that was like, "You can't wrestle," and our immediately thought was, "You get in there and do it then." Uh,
My immediate thought was, he's in there doing it. I believe I said that.
yeah. Um, so JBL was pissed off, but then backed off when Loomis started walking towards him, and then pulls an axe out of his pants. Uh, which JBL had put his hat on the announce table previously. JBL fell on his ass, and then
Trying
Loomis
to run
looks,
away from
yeah,
Dexter.
Loomis looks at him, grabs the axe, and puts it into the hat. Which I don't know how far that went down. I don't know if it went into the desk or not, but anyway, it was like it split open the top of the hat. The distraction led to a few counters until Gargano cradled Corbin for the win. Because again, a quick roll up win is Corbin's kryptonite. Apparently, that's what he always loses to. Uh,
Seems to be.
there were a pretty good chance of Johnny wrestling, but an even bigger chance of bum ass Corbin during the matchup. Uh, really fun segment though. At the end of it, Gargano gets out, stands on top of the announce table, grabs the hat, wipes his butt with it, and throws it. And then Corbin gets left by JBL. JBL dipped, went to the back. Corbin is in the ring by himself.
I think they're going to start pushing them apart
I hope so.
because Corbin keeps losing.
Um, I do want to say just because so at the start of this match, I had told Tori I noticed Corbin normally wears this singlet top. It's always capped up to his neck, so it's a full shirt, but it's always tucked into his pants, and obviously is hooked down there somewhere because it doesn't come out. This time he was just wearing one of his merch shirts that was cut into the same fashion. He took off his shirt, which is the first time we've seen him without a shirt on in a long time.
Since he did a lone wolf gimmick.
Yeah, so maybe that's a part of a change too. Maybe we're going to start seeing a little reverting away from him being wrestling god, Moneybags Corbin, and maybe bring back some of the Lone Wolf stuff. We can all hope. We get MVP's music and Titantron coming up, and he comes out because he's going to do a VIP lounge with Austin Theory. Wasn't much of a segment. Theory comes out there and he says basically you should go ahead and change the name of this. Instead, it should be ATL, which stands for Austin Theory Live. What made this segment weird for me is MVP was playing the heel the entire time. He started off with the normal beat to the segment of the MVP lounge is for people better than you. So he's already downplaying the crowd. And then he's trying to play heel-ish against Austin, who's already a mega heel. So I'm not sure what the point of that was. I would think he'd be
That's
wanting to try to play a little more babyface because he's trying to
that's the
get Bobby
problem.
with him and Hurt Business and all that.
That's the problem with these segments. When you bring in a heel, you can't act the same way you do as you do with a face.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same problem with Miz TV when he brings a heel in and still acts like himself.
Yeah. Well, when he brings a heel in, that's the thing. And I don't want to downplay MVP because he's amazing. He's been around forever.
Absolutely,
Um,
100%.
but the Miz though, he normally commiserates with the heel. So it's normally he is agreeing that the heel's getting screwed, or he agrees that the heel is not getting the fair shake of the deal.
Right.
Where MVP is basically saying yeah, but you got beat by Bobby Lashley. You were in a elimination chamber, and I can tell that you're scared because you got F5 by Brock Lesnar off the top of one of the things. Same thing happened to me when I was in the elimination chamber for the first time with the Undertaker. And then there was a weird thing where Austin was saying, "So you're trying to compare Lashley to the Undertaker?" And it's well, that's not what he said, but okay. Um, let's move on, I guess. At that point, though, thank goodness Lashley's music hits, so he's interrupted. He comes out. I wonder if Lashley owns any regular clothes anymore because he's always in his wrestling gear. But he comes out there. MVP's holding him back, trying to get him to not do anything. But he ends up spearing MVP by accident because he beat down Austin a little bit. He backed into a corner, made himself some room, and then Theory yanked MVP in front of him to take the spear. Lashley didn't seem very worried that he just speared MVP.
He did not. He kind of checked on him for a second, and then he was just like, whatever.
Yep. And then Theory left. I found it fascinating, though. Theory left his belt. He didn't take the belt
Yeah, I
with him.
saw
It was
that.
still in the middle of the ring. We got a Saxman interview. Byron, Saxton, was back there with Finn Balor. Balor said he figured Edge would have had enough of him by now. but informed Edge he isn't hard to find. Balor also said that Cody Rhodes has been stealing from him for years, and Cody's going to get his taxes coming up tonight, and Finn's going to collect. During this interview, too, he also mentions that the 30 spot should have been my spot, and I should have won the Rumble, but that's what Dom said he was supposed to do. So apparently, everybody in Judgment Day was supposed to have 30. Everybody was
It
supposed
was
to
supposed to
win.
be their spot.
Yeah.
I apparently they didn't call Arn Anderson for it.
Yep. There was a short interview with Dave Bautista that was pre-recorded about the new movie. Um, Miz was in the ring. He was complaining about being attacked by Kevin Owens last week, and he complained about his Rumble entry number. He also complained about everyone teaming up on him. They all thought he was a threat, and so he got eliminated out first as a result. Genius on the mic, because he says he even claimed that he was in the airport and people were chanting first man out, which the crowd picked up immediately and started chanting it really loudly. Um,
Underrated. I feel like The Miz is one of the most underrated guys there is.
yeah. I love this particular instance. He's also saying, I never get the opportunities I deserve. I deserve an opportunity. I deserve a match that is at the caliber, the level that I am. And then in
Tried
that
to
case, he
forget
gets
about this match.
he gets interrupted by Adam Pierce, who says, "You know what? Usually, when you say that you deserve this opportunity and complain about things, we're not at the same page. But this time, I actually agree with you. You deserve an opportunity. In fact, I just had someone come to my office that said they also want the same type of opportunity. So we're gonna have that match right now." And he says, "And here's the opponent, and it's Rick Boogs. Rick Boogs comes back. Um, I want you to read the text that our friend of the show, Brian, sent you during this entrance."
I deleted it.
Oh, if I remember correctly, it was if Ultimate Warrior, Tatanka,
Scott Norton.
and Scott Norton.
No, it was Scott Norton, Ultimate Warrior. I think in Van Hammer
Oh, Van Hammer, that's right.
had a
I
baby.
was thinking Tatanka because he was doing the step thing around.
No, he said if they had a baby, then he said replace Scott Norton with Ice Train.
Yeah. Um, Rick Boogs, though, looking jacked as ever. Obviously came back very successfully from that injury he had. Um, Came out there and just basically squashed the Miz, which sad because it's the Miz and he doesn't need to be squashed. But about a minute and 14, Rick Boogs run with a press slam, world's strongest slam. So an interesting way to get into that move. We go backstage. We have the interesting segment with Chad Gable and Otis. They're walking through the back, and they walk into their dressing room, but they passed by Maximum Male Models, and so Mason Mansoor are like, "Ugh, that was disgusting," and then Maxine says, "No, no, no, that was perfect. That was gorgeous." And then we presume that they're talking about Otis. So maybe they're going to do a thing there. I'd mentioned on the ride back home, like, are they going to do the pretty girl hates the ugly dude again? You mentioned a good thing of maybe they're going to pretty him up and make him part of the Maximum Male Models. Either way, it's going to be funny TV. Otis is so good at this comedy type stuff, so
He is, and
uh,
that. But if you, especially with the stuff they've been doing with Mason Mansoor online,
mhm,
if you put Otis into that, that shit's gonna be hilarious.
absolutely. Um, There was a video package of the Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn angle at Royal Rumble. We got a little confused because they made it sound like the Bloodline was coming there. It's kind of one of the downfalls of not having the commentary, so we didn't know it was going to be just the package. We thought we were going to
I
see
got a little
something tonight.
pissed because I
Yeah.
was excited about that.
Um, then we got a Bailey Becky Lynch segment. Bailey comes out, and we don't understand why she's coming out at first. Uh, you had brought up a good point of maybe it's because Rhea said she was going after Charlotte, so maybe Bailey was going to come after Bianca. But no, it's just basically her coming out there talking about how Uh, she beat down Lynch, and she's the greatest, and yada yada yada. And then Lynch comes out. Um, Greatest part of this back and forth though was Bailey's comebacks, because she basically said like, "You're not worth our time. You're not worth being in this ring. You're not worth your husband. He only married you because he knocked you up."
I started looking on Twitter. Bailey posted a picture of her and Seth, and Becky retweeted it with, "I guess it's not just my spot she's coming after."
Mm-hmm. And then actually Bailey responded to that with a picture of her side eyeing. So yeah, fun little back and forth. But so basically at that point, then Lynch said, "Okay, well, here's the thing. Like our friendship has crumbled. We're not friends anymore. This all started back in Orlando with us and the Four Horsewomen. So I think it's apropos for us to finish this in Orlando, which is next week. They're in Orlando." In a cage match. And so she says, "I want this cage match." Bailey saying, "No, I'm not going to do it." Lynch said, "Okay, well, I figured out a way to get you to say yes. I'll be right back." And so she walks back up the rampway. Bailey starts running her mouth, going, "Yeah, she's going to go back there and get Adam Pierce or something." Uh, and she comes out dragging Dakota Kai, who has a chair wrapped around her leg. Drags her out there. She's holding her leg down. Looks like she's going to stop the chair, but then she takes the chair off her leg and looks like she's going to hit Dakota with it. She goes, "So can I have this match?" And then Bailey's trying to backpedal. And then she goes to swing at it and she goes, "No, no, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. I agree, I agree, I agree." And so she drops the chair and she says, you know, "It's going to be a match against you and me. By the way, you might want to go check on EO in the back." So obviously she had done some damage to that, which unfortunately in the arena we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see her check on EO and see what happened. I haven't gone back to rewatch it to see if they showed any backstage stuff.
Right.
Because I'd read in a report that there was a couple of backstage segments that were pre-recorded, so maybe we didn't get to see them live on the Titantron. Don't know. Um, Earlier in the day, Saxton tried interviewing Dolph Ziggler, but was interrupted by Ali again, who grabbed the mic and mockingly did an interview instead. He asked Ziggler in a fake interview voice how he was getting yet another opportunity. Ziggler told Ali that he doesn't book the show, but he was going to steal it. Ali responded sarcastically and acted impressed. And then we find out that Dolph Ziggler is going to be facing Bronson Reed, and that did not go in Dolph's favor. Uh, Long story short, uh, Dolph had some good spots in it. However, uh, he basically got squashed. It was about 3 minutes 13 seconds. Bronson just tore through him, hit him with a tsunami, and good lord, that looks even more devastating in real life than it does on camera.
He's so big.
Yeah.
We were
Uh,
just like, "Oh my God, this dude is so huge."
so we find out that Bronson Reed's going to end up in that chamber match. Honestly, that's my dark horse to win that match already. Because that big dude in the chamber is going to be a monster. Uh, and 10-1, we get that tsunami off the top of one of those cages. Uh,
I feel bad for whoever takes that.
yeah. Uh, Kelly's backstage and she interviews Carmella, who announced that she's back before saying her catchphrases. She does the whole thing, trash talking, moonwalking, Princess of Staten Island, Mela is money, whole 9 yards. She's interrupted by Asuka, who's wearing street clothes. Now, the interesting thing that I found about this is it's not street clothes that Asuka used to wear. It's more fancy. In some of the pictures I've seen of Kana back in the day, it's kind of more that style. Uh, so she's just kind of standing there, though. She's got no face paint on. She dips down her glasses, and Carmella's trying to ask her what's going on, and uh, and she just kind of smirks at her to reveal that she's got blue in her mouth, and blue starts dripping down her face, meaning that she had the mist ready to go. Uh, so she just kind of smirks at that. Carmella gets grossed out and then leaves. Um, I will say, like that that doesn't come across very well talking about it, go back and watch that segment. It was very good.
It
And
was.
this new character of hers, which is more menacing, like
Yeah,
she's got it down already. So definitely a good thing. Then we end up with another interview segment with Boogs. We got Saxton back there with him. It's a Boogs interview segment. However, the thing we find out that's really good about this is we got Boogs, Street Profits, and Elias all backstage. We find out that both Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford are both going to have qualifying matches for the Chamber as well. Um, Angelo Dawkins doesn't say here. Do you remember who they said he was facing?
Damien.
That's right, Damian Priest. So he's going to be facing Damian Priest. And Montez Ford, ironically enough, is going to be facing Elias. So that'll be the match for that. I love the fact that Street Profits are in this. If
I think this could be the start of that singles push we've been hoping for Montez.
hopefully,
I'd be Let me be clear, I'd be fine if they did it with Dawkins too.
yes, both of them I think they have the ability to be single stars. I think right now Montez is at a bit of a higher level.
I
Um,
agree.
but definitely getting the U.S. title or being in the run for the U.S. title would be a great start for that.
Or
But
if you put it on Montez and his first opponent is Dawkins.
yeah, have him give him the rub because he's like, "You're my best friend, you're my partner, you're my brother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the first shot at this," and that'd be good. Um, Somewhere in there, they plugged Bianca Belair segment and showed it for a graphic, but it never happened. Um, we're not sure what happened. Apparently, the same thing showed on TV, which never happened. We didn't get to see a Bianca
Oh,
Belair segment, so
yeah,
it
I don't
didn't
know.
happen for us either, guys. So that sucks. We get a little promo for next week in Orlando. So obviously we get Becky Lynch versus Bayley in a cage match that we already saw. We get Angelo Dawkins versus Damian Priest, Montez Ford versus Elias. We also find out that we're going to get Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim versus Piper Niven versus Carmella in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. So those four going in a match is going to be fun and amazing. And
Well, and they're doing qualifiers for the women's chamber. The first four were the four left from,
yeah, the four that were left in Royal Rumble outside Rhea
and
Ripley.
then
So we
the
got
other two spots. It's whoever wins it gets a shot at Bianca at Mania, right?
yeah.
Okay, just
Um,
making sure you said that.
and the four that are already in, just to kind of go back through that, we have Liv Morgan, we have Asuka, we have Nikki Cross. Got the
Who
fourth.
was the shit?
If you don't mind, look that up, and I'm gonna
That's what I'm doing.
go on with this. Um, they've mentioned a few times in this night this is the first match ever between Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor, um, which was hard to believe. But after coming home and getting a chance to think about it and research a little bit, like they were always ships in the night. They never really crossed at the same time. As soon as Cody went out to Japan, Finn had just left. They were never, like AEW wasn't a thing for Finn, and Finn was already above Indies when Cody went out to the excursion. So
Raquel,
Raquel, that's right.
Raquel,
Um,
Asuka, Liv, and
Nikki, Nikki
who?
Cross.
Nikki Cross.
Yeah. Um,
Is that?
yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah. Nikki, I remember because Nikki lived throughout Nikki, and then that caused the bottom three.
That's right. Okay.
Um, because of Nikki being in there, I know we had discussed last night Piper Niven winning. I could see Candice getting the dub because Nikki's in the match.
I think Nikki cost her the match.
That could be too. Keeps her out of the elimination chamber.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. With her being crazy, maybe she wants her in the match. So maybe she
I mean, that's
gives her the
fair.
match so she could get her, caught in the chamber. But this match was really good. Finn was doing a lot of work in that pectoral area. I think that's a gimmick we're probably going to see for a while. when it comes
Which
to Cody is they're going to focus on that.
it makes sense too, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
it makes total sense. Um, Cody tried for the Cody Cutter a couple of times, missed both. Um, Rhodes did hit a superplex off the top rope. I think you were checking out something on your phone, and it's after you'd moved a little bit, so I couldn't get your attention in enough time. But so Finn was crotched on the top rope, and Cody muscled him up into a superplex. And it was just a
that's so impressive.
slow pull up and then a fall back. It was so impressive. Judgment Day surrounded Rhodes when he got thrown out the ring. So he's at the ring at ringside, and they're coming around him. And then all of a sudden, crowd starts erupting. You see that Edge is coming out from the crowd. Ironically enough, about the same area where he pulled a guy off a balcony that poured beer on him. Ironically, around that same section at one point. For those that don't know, there was a spot. It was around the Attitude Era. It was around that time frame um, when they came to Tulsa, and someone had thrown beer from an upper section uh, onto Edge while he was doing a thing. And as soon as that camera went off, he snatched that man by his shirt and pulled him down. And of course, it was a different time. We don't advocate this now, but he beat the living tar out of that guy.
He beat the piss out of that dude, and that dude deserved every bit of it.
Uh,
Dumbass.
but so he comes out, he's taking them out. Um, in all this confusion, Cody Rhodes and Finn are still kind of out because the focus is on Edge beating up the other guys now. Um, then at that point, once he gets Dom and Priest taken care of, then at that point, Rhea starts beating on Edge, and then almost like we wrote it ourselves, Beth comes down the entranceway, spears the hell out of her.
Yeah,
Uh,
she did. I need to go back and watch that because I want to see that shot.
yeah, the two spears of the night. Like Edge got Dom, and he took that thing damn well. And then Rhea taking that spear was nice too. Uh, then we go back to the ring. There's some excitement going on there. Finn does his normal drop kick to the corner, gets Rhodes set up for the coup de grace. He gets up to the top rope. Edge comes up on the apron, distracts him. That distraction gives Cody Rhodes enough time to get his wits about him. Finn goes for the coup de grace. Cody rolls out of the way, grabs him for not one, not two, but three crossroads in a row, which looked really pretty in person. I can just imagine what that looked like on TV. Uh, so good. And then he gets the pin 1, 2, 3. The crowd was really into Rhodes at the end of this. Rhodes, I got to see this a little bit just from the clips on YouTube. Him saluting Edge did end up on TV. That spot was tried a few times because he kept doing it, and then Edge wasn't doing it back, and then he'd do it again, and Edge didn't do
I
it back.
think Edge didn't see him.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was, but there was he definitely tried that a couple of times before Edge noticed it and then did it back. So we
Right.
get that little bit of a moment. Edge also got caught in 4K. There was a person behind him taking pictures. He totally grabbed his wife's ass on national TV.
I
I don't blame that man
look.
at all.
I ain't mad at him.
Uh, what was really fun is he retweeted it too. Like he saw the picture, retweeted it, and he was like, "Yeah, you caught me." Um,
It's his wife. I mean, whatever.
yeah. Uh, when the cameras go off, Cody does a nice speech, uh, mentions the attendance record, uh, basically asks the crowd if they were to come back, would we come back? Of course, the crowd popped loud for it. More chance for Cody. Um, did a little bit more emotional speeching. The words escape me now, but it was kind of just mirroring what he had
It
said
was
at the
good.
beginning of the night
It was good.
about how you know him being here is a privilege and all that. He does the kiss the ring gimmick, um, and then he goes out to the front of the crowd where there's four guys with banana hats on, and then he puts on one of them and gets in the ring and does his Cody pose, uh, and then throws it back to them. Really fun. Again, just him kind of playing with the crowd. Uh, one of the things he said that made me chuckle a little bit though is he's like, I'm not going to talk for too long because if I talk for too long, Jason Jordan's going to come out here all pissed off and drag me away. Which I think by the time he was running up there, he was like, okay, okay, before he went to like was in the back. And I wonder if that was
Right.
Jason Jordan out there going, come on.
Probably.
Uh,
He took pictures.
yeah, it almost
His
looked like he was going
interaction
to
with the
come to our
crowd at the
section,
end.
which we were in the section that was at hard camera. Uh, and so like they were looking at us during interviews and such like that. It looked like he was actually going to walk our way at one point, but then like he got in his ear, someone was talking to him, and then he went off the other way. So I'm assuming they were just like, "Hey, you need to wrap this up."
Right.
Um, but yeah, like he did crowd service, he did fan service. Great kid to be the face of your company if you're going to. Um, one of the groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, someone had asked the question of like, can you imagine if AEW gave him the same presentation he has here? Um, because it was different there, and whether that was of his own volition or whether it was how they wanted him booked, I kind of think it may have been of his own volition because it seemed like he didn't want to be in the title picture. So,
Like I said, and we've talked about it. I feel like he took himself out to say, "I'm gonna, I'm gonna take myself out of this, even though it's my company. I'm not gonna put the title on myself all the time."
mhm.
But I definitely think that it kind of hurt the company too.
We are at just under an hour in this episode, and I would be remiss if we didn't have a little bit of a comeback of a segment. We have a little thing that I always recut when there's things that really kind of uh, get our ire, get our goat that we want to talk about. It's called Getting Heat, and uh, our conversation last night. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to get some Getting Heat. Um, we are sitting in the crowd. No one's out there yet.
It's easy 30 minutes before the show starts.
And all of a sudden the woos start hitting. And keep in mind, like so before it actually started going around the whole arena, we have two kids behind us that are first of all doing it wrong. Second of all, doing it
And
really
doing it
loud in our ear.
terribly.
Um, so Corey had mentioned to me, just no. So I'm going to lead with that and say, okay, I have talked a lot in the last hour. I'm going to let you say your piece. What is our issue with the woo?
Why is this still a thing? Like, if Flair's on the show or in the ring interacting, okay. Kind of the same thing with Charlotte. A little less so because she seems to be kind of sliding away from it, which is cool. But every commercial break for the entire 30 fucking minutes before the show, it just kept going. Why is this still a thing? We did the New Day clap. You know what? I'm cool with that. They're at least active on the roster and haven't been dead since 1972. Like, why? Why are we still doing this? As fans, this is right up there with the what chant. It's funny at times. Stop it. Stop it for the love of God. Stop it.
So I'm a big proponent of like you paid your ticket, you get to interact. But I don't disagree with this. I think doing the woo back and forth in arena, um, like I can't tell you not to do it. I can't. However,
I'll tell you not
it
to do
did
it. I'll
it
tell you to fucking stop. It's terrible.
it does annoy me. The only time that I'm okay with you wooing, you've mentioned those spots of either Charlotte's out there or Rick's out there. My other spot is the chop. If someone knife edge
Again,
chops somebody, okay, like that's a
if
perfect time
they
to woo.
if they do it well, there's some of these little crappy half-assed you can't even hear it. Don't do it. That's disrespectful to the woo.
How ironic is that, though? You're saying don't do the woo,
Oh
but
no,
don't disrespect the woo.
I'm not saying you look, the chop thing, I get it, especially when it's just ridiculous.
Hmm.
Like you hear that thing pop 6 miles away. Cool. I get it. But if you bring some little half-ass weak chop, no, no, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve that recognition.
You
That
sir don't
man,
deserve the woo.
right? Legit, legit. You don't deserve shit. So no, nope. If you bring some weak ass chop, if you're not hitting somebody like Bob Holly and stopping a heart, you don't deserve it.
So with the beforehand and with the during breaks, do you not attribute it to like doing the wave at a baseball game? That's
I
just
think
the
that's dumb as fuck
wrestling's
too.
form of it.
I think that's dumb as fuck too. And I'm not afraid to say it. The wave is stupid. Why are we still doing this? It is not 1984. Let's move on.
So you don't do the wave?
No, I
Yeah.
sit there. I don't care if I'm the look. I could be the only motherfucker in the crowd still sitting there. I ain't doing it. Nope. Fuck that. I'm gonna sit here. I'm nope. I'm gonna sit here and eat my popcorn or my nachos and drink my drink. I'm not getting up because fuck that. Because it's 97 times a goddamn game, and it's stupid. Ooh, the whole arena's doing it. No, the whole arena's not because I'm still fucking sitting here.
What about the Braves job?
Look, don't even get me started on that racist bullshit.
Okay, so we stopped doing the woo. What replaces it? Because there's got to be something to
No,
entertain the
no, that's
people
just it.
before the
No,
match
no, no, no,
starts.
no. That's just it. Nothing has to replace it. It doesn't have to be replaced. Why are we replacing it? It's perfectly fine to just sit there and talk to the people that you're with and wave at the people you know that are over in their stand, sit up and wave at them. Like, that's cool. There is no need for this. None. No need. Like, what? Why?
I say this with all love and respect. You're getting a little get off my lawn.
Look, first of all, if I had a lawn and I cut it and
Back
somebody
in
came
my
and
day.
mowed it, whatever. I'm not Clint Eastwood. I'm not 104. But this is just stupid. It it's just dumb and we need to move on from it. When he dies, we can have one arena full of it and then we can just stop.
Okay, fair enough. Uh, uh,
Shit irritated me all night long.
uh. Now, do we would a Kali chop? That's my only. Nope. Okay. I think that's gonna wrap.
You trying to get me started on that too, huh?
I'm just trying to get you started. That's to quote Vince. That's good shit. Um,
Fuck, it's not. It's terrible shit.
uh, that wraps up this episode. I think there's no better way to end it than with a fuck you and a middle finger. Thanks for spending your time with us. If you're enjoying the podcast, please go ahead and support us by sharing this channel and sharing this video. Hit us up on all of the socials down there below. Catch us out on TikTok. We got some new ones that are going to be coming out. We're going to record a batch of those tonight. So we'll have at least 15 episodes of 3 weeks worth because I don't post those on the weekends. Made that mistake one time and only got like 20 views on it. Until next, or excuse me, if you want to watch the lexicon and the back catalog of what we're doing, you can see that right here. YouTube.com at Kicking At It Too. And until next time, I'm Michael. That story, she's pissed. And we'll see you on the next one.